Well, another Tuesday Wrestling just went by, so I'm going to do something new for all of you, just for this week. As you know, I normally do AEW Dark and Impact Wrestling, so today I'm going to add NXT, since we now have proven that NXT and AEW can go have better odds without going head-to-head, but that's only going to be this week. So let's get started with another episode of Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, this is J-Rod here. Welcome to Deleted WrestleZone. All things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Line, many promotions, wrestlers, and championships. So as you all know now, I added NXT for this particular subject. Reason is because now it's been proven that NXT can have better odds without being collided with AEW, but I can't wait to talk about that today because this particular NXT show was amazing. We just crowned a brand new NXT champion, and I can't wait to talk about that. But however, let's just get the show started right now, starting with AEW Dark. Okay, so we're doing AEW Dark. As you all know, recently I did not do the last AEW Dark before they did All Out. Reason is, if you guys saw my last video, I actually had an ear infection. I still have it. Actually dealing with it right now with the antibiotics. But however, let's talk about the recent matches for this AEW Dark. Now, the first match was interesting. We just have this new guy named Sean Legacy versus Will Hobbs. Now, this is the first time Will Hobbs is being more recognizable. Now, we have seen Will Hobbs many times over at AEW Dark, but however, he had impressed me when he made his appearance at the Casino Battle Royale at All Out. So I have to say, maybe he may have a bright future with AEW. Now, I don't know what you guys would think. He was very impressive and really big guy, and I really enjoyed. So he picked up the victory for this particular match. I don't know how you guys would feel about that, because we see now Anna Jay has one of those who were in AEW Dark now being recognized. Same thing we see with Pineapple Pete, who no longer working with them anymore. But yeah. Next match, we had Tony Donati versus Brian Cage. I'll just tell you anyway who won this one. Brian Cage, as always. And next match we had is Griff Garrison versus Angelico. This match was a little more hard-hitting, with Griff Garrison throwing a very hard hits, but however, you could never outmaster a guy like Angelico. So Angelico actually won this match. Next match, we have the women's match. We have Skylar Moore versus Anna Jay. As you know, this one was a very interesting match. I follow Skylar Moore a lot recently, and she did impress me a little bit, but of course Anna Jay, you could never get away from her chokehold, the same chokehold that she used on Brandy Rhodes a few weeks ago. And of course she got pump kick at All Out. So that's pretty cool. And then we had the next match, we have Lee Johnson, who is no longer part of MJF's campaign since he lost to Moxley. He faced off against Eddie Kingston, a very tough individual. As you know, I don't have to give you guys the results on that one. You guys know Eddie Kingston won on this one. Next match, we had Serpentico versus the Concrete Rose, Sonny Kiss. Man, Sonny impressed me with the finisher move he put out. He did like some sort of a flip and landed right on Serpentico to pick up the victory. That is kind of amazing to see. I don't know exactly what was that, but it was pretty cool. Next match, we had a very familiar wrestler that I mentioned who's made appearances at GCW, a British wrestler named Ben Carter. facing off against Absolute Ricky Stark. Pretty much you see Ben Carter throwing a little bit of what he is, if you guys are familiarized with his reputation, but it's amazing. But of course Ricky Stark won this one. So basically that's all the matches for that. It was very short. They went up maybe less than an hour for this one. We have seen them go maybe more than somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours, but that's what it is for this particular AEW Dark episode. So right now, let's move on to Impact Wrestling. Okay, so Impact Wrestling are still dealing with the loss of what happened last week. They started out with the recap. As you know, Moose is still dealing with the whole thing with EC3 getting into his head, stealing the TNA World title, claiming he needs to destroy it to set himself free from his past. But Moose is desperate to get his belt back, but he needed answers and all this other that. And as for the other part of the recap, was the biggest shocker ever. Eric Young beat Eddie Edwards for the Impact World title, which is now that Eric Young is turning the entire Impact Zone into an asylum, which is what he wants. He's willing to destroy anybody that gets in his way. So let's start with the first thing they start out. As we know, Eric Young comes out revealing himself as the new champion, all this and that. But out of nowhere, Eddie Edwards' wife, Alicia Edwards, comes out to confront him, saying that once Eddie Edwards comes back, that he will reclaim that title. But Eric Young did the most despicable thing. He tried to pile drive Alicia Edwards, but out of nowhere, with the surprise help, it was Tommy Dreamer who saved Alicia Edwards from Eric Young. Eric Young does not like people getting in his way, but he made a challenge for him that was part of the main event, that this is not about the title, this is about him destroying Eric Young for trying to do the most despicable thing that he could have done to any other person. So that's the whole thing what went down. Next thing we see, Moose is still looking for answers of what happened. So the cameras follow him to the airport, flying off to wherever he needed to go to. So that's how it was for him. So and then we see Rosemary and Bravo getting ready for their wedding, but Taya was there too. So once this happened, Taya called out for an elephant and dozens of and hundreds of horses. Who does that? I mean, kind of weird. Then we have a match, sort of like who would be the #1 contender for the X Division Championship that it's currently held by Rohit Raju. Now, Rohit Raju weaseled his way somehow to get to the top, using Chris Bay without realizing. And TJP wants to get another shot of the title, but the only way he has to do that is to get to the one man who earns a rematch clause, and that person is Chris Bay. So basically, the match was amazing, but of course, Rohit Raju was there. He wasn't distracting. I think he was trying to figure out who would be the most likely opponent to face him for the X Division Championship. It could go either way. I mean, Chris Bay, he's very athletic, you know. He's truly finesse. TJP, he's been in the game for far too long, and we all know his capabilities. But the match was great. I liked it. TJP actually picked up the victory. And I think Chris Bay is not happy about it. I think he's out of his game because he actually fall into Rohit Raju's ruse to what he was doing, you know? But let's see what that happens. Then we go to locker room talk where Madison Rayne had Susie and Kylie Ray. She wanted to know that she planned this entire time to ruin the black tie event from Deonna Purrazzo last week. It wasn't like she planned it, but of course Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly believe she did interrupt it. That wasn't the plan, but they're still claiming. But however, Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly are teaming up to face both Kylie Ray and Susie. So basically, we all seen that happen. So that's going to be next week. Next we have is Bravo, of course, on the phone planning the whole wedding. And you hear him talking about the elephant and the horses. And then here comes Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz saying they want to be the groomsmen. But they're trying to get into his head about saying, why is he still sucking her up to Taya? So they're trying to tell him all this and that. But of course, if Taya heard that, then she's not too pleased with that. Next we have is Brian Myers. As you know, Brian Myers has made his appearance. He claims he's the most professional wrestler. We all know that's not true. He low-blowed Willie Mack last week. He wanted him to shake his hand because he thinks he's professional. But Willie Mack and the Impact management don't see it that way. So, he calls out, and here comes Mack, telling him that the management booked him in a match for the evening. And it went right away. Meyer was not even his wrestling gear. And the whole match was kind of interesting, but I'll skip anyway. Again, Myers tried to get away with it, claiming he is professional, and of course, that's what he claims he is. But luckily, it's been announced already. Another rematch for Willie Mack is coming into play. Let's see how professional he gets out of this one. Now, the next thing we see is Jordynne Grace, who's being interviewed. Now, Jordynne Grace last week was trying to congratulate Deonna Purrazzo on her black attire. But however, she is disturbed with the sudden appearance and return of Tennille Dashwood. Now, Tennille Dashwood shows up out of nowhere after many months not seeing her. We don't know where she's been. If you follow social media, then you know. But anyway, she wanted answers. Why is she here? Where she's been? So they go to the locker. She's taking photographs, and her photographer was there telling her when she will be back. Surprise, surprise, next week. Jordynne is not too pleased with Tennille Dashwood, with how she's been appearing and all this and that. Now, let's jump in now back to Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. As you know, they've been trying to get into Johnny's head, Bravo's head, and all of a sudden Taya comes out calling her a pit bull, a Chihuahua 1, Chihuahua 2, and of course she set up in the match against Taya for the evening. So basically, they don't appreciate what they're trying to do to get into Bravo's head. So that match is set for later. Now the next match is the Slammiversary rematch that we've been waiting for. It's the Motor City Machine Guns putting their Impact Wrestling World Tag Team titles on the line against the Rascals. This match was good. I love the Rascals. I love the Motor City Machine Guns. They did amazing how this was portraying, and I love it. A lot of great things went going. Now the post match, well, let's jump into the winners. The winners is still Motor City Machine Guns, but however, post match, here comes the North. We haven't seen them since they lost the rematch against them. Now we don't know where they've been, but we do know they've been upset, claiming they were being disrespectful, that they are not being mentioned, no interviews, all this other stuff. And all of a sudden they get help from another group. We're talking about the Ace Austin and Madman Fulton showing up, attacking them, and attacking both the Guns. But out of nowhere, here comes the Good Brothers saving the day. Now this has become very, very good. As you know, we do know that currently the top outside of WWE for the tag team championship, tag team division is AEW. But however, Impact looks like they're stepping up a little bit of the notch on this one. So we don't know what's gonna happen, but it's been revealed for next week. We're gonna have an 8-man tag team match. We got the North teaming with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton to face off against the Rascals and the Motor City Machine Guns. So this is going to be interesting. However, there's no word about what's the Good Brothers' plans. Now, of course, they just mind their own business, or they have other plans for them. We don't know. But this is going to be good. Next, we have Katie Forbes and RVD for actually coming up with a brand new segment called the Effin' Show, or so talking the Effin' Show, whatever they're calling it, kind of like a talk show, and they're very excited for the launch. But however, unaware to them, Sami Callihan, who still has a beef with both Katie Forbes and RVD, they are, on the other hand, they're trying to how do I say this? He's trying to realize there was a number of games in this whole thing between them. As you know, Callahan has seen something different, so he said he's going to crash the little premiere. So that's going to be exciting. Next thing we see is the match, Tasha Steelz along with Kiera Hogan versus Taya Valkyrie along with Bravo. This match, it was so funny. Bravo was on the damn phone the entire time, getting everything ready for the wedding. You're supposed to be right behind Taya, encouraging her. But he wasn't doing that. He was on the phone. But luckily, Taya picked up the victory. Then they tried to stomp her, but Bravo stopped it. So I don't know if this is far from over between, Taya and both Steelz and Hogan. I don't know. But we'll see where that goes. Then we have the whole thing with Moose, in the other hand. Moose goes back to his old high school to talk to his old coach, asking him if he's seen EC3. But all of a sudden, the coach says, you control your own narrative. You've been warned. And they attacked him with 3 football players. Did EC3 got to them? What kind of mind games is EC3 playing him? I think Moose is becoming worried or scared. We don't know. He's desperate to get the TNA title back. But what is EC3's game here? I don't know. But it's interesting. Then we have the Impact Plus flashback moment of the week. This is where we have, this took place on Impact on August 11th, 2016. This is a tag team match between Moose and Mike Bennett versus Eddie Edwards and EC3. This match was good. I haven't seen it, but Moose and Bennett took the victory on this one. Then we go to Heath and Rhino. Heath is trying to get into Impact to get work, but Rhino knows that he made management angry, but they need to continue with the more ads. But however, Rhino said that he knows how to find very hard cash. And of course, there's only one person that knows that, and that's Hernandez. That's gonna be interesting to watch. Now we jump into the main event between Eric Young and Tommy Dreamer. The match was more like a hardcore rule type, but there were some great moments from Tommy Dreamer and Eric Young. But however, I did expect it what Eric Young did, what he did to Eddie Edwards, where he whacked him with the face mask on him like last time and picking up the victory with the power driver. Then he tried to do the same thing, what he did to Rich Swann, breaking his ankle. He's determined to destroy anybody that gets in his way. But the surprise appearance of someone, Rich Swann showed up with clutches and a cast, whacking him with the crutches. I don't know what is this, but it's kind of amazing how Rich Swann, who's hurt, he retired and he came back just to get even with Eric Young, despite the fact that he's hurt. I don't know what's going to happen with this story. This is kind of interesting, but I can't wait to see it continue on. We'll see what happens next week. So right now, let's jump in with NXT. Alright, NXT. Right now, we start with the first match of the evening. It was, in fact, for the NXT Championship title. Now, this match was already been booked a week ago. This took place in a Fatal 4-Way Iron Man, 60-minute Iron Man match. The finals of this match, the people who won the most consistent pinfalls or submissions is Adam Cole and Finn Balor. However, the 60 minutes went up when both men picked up two pinfalls at almost around the same time. However, Regal made the decision that they're going to continue on whoever's going to win this match between Finn Balor and Adam Cole for tonight. But this match was amazing. I love how this one went down because we don't know who was going to win. We do know Finn Balor hold the NXT title for at least 292 days. Adam Cole, 403 days. He is the longest reigning NXT champion. So I can't wait to. I was so pumped for this match. But it was unbelievable. Counter after counter, move after move, pain after pain that these guys went through. I didn't know how this was gonna go down. I wasn't sure. Everybody pull off their signature moves. We all know one of Balor's moves, the coup de grace. It worked once and he got away with it. Then we saw the lights out on Balor. Cole to Balor. He kicked out. I'm like, dang, this is so awesome. But frankly, the winner was Balor when he did a over on the top of the turnbuckle, 1916, picking up the victory. And Finn Balor is now a 2-time NXT champion. I'm so happy with that. I think this is a great moment. And my brother predicted Finn Balor was going to win. I was so pumped for that. I'm glad I saw it. Now, the next thing we see is Rhea Ripley giving a message to Mercedes. As you know, Mercedes has cost her many times over some opportunities. And this time, they're going to face each other in a cage, which is going to be awesome. Then we see Balor, like in the backstage, being congratulated by Triple H and several others, and of course, Adam Cole. This is like one of those segments where you don't see behind the camera where they're like showing sportsmanship, and of course you see Balor and Cole with the 2 sweet sign. We both, if you guys don't know why they did that, both guys were part of the Bullet Club before, you know. And then we see Stone, Robert Stone, who still has a problem with a particular someone, but with her favorite toy, and I'm talking about the tank. She tried to demolish it. Then she gets into Stone's face, and then here comes Aaliyah, tries to get even with her, but but something went wrong. Aaliyah got in the photo shoot of the Genius of the Sky, Io Shirai. Big mistake. And Io Shirai chased her. She's so scared of her. But Robert Stone tried to get in the way, but Shotzi Blackheart was helping her out. But all of a sudden we see this thing with both of them where Shotzi is now taking her shots. And some people are saying, is this a wise move to do that to her? I'm like, I don't know. I hate to be Shotzi Blackheart because I don't want to piss off the Genius of the Sky. That's my concern. Then we see the dinner that they've been already talked about between Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox. As you know, their friendship has been a bit not rocky, but more estranged from each other ever since Candice went to follow her husband's, the so-called Gargano way. So it went on like that. They continue on later on. I'll get to that later. Then we have Timothy Thatcher showing videos of Damian Priest about the kind of moves that makes him vulnerable, because Timothy Thatcher is very methodical about how to beat an opponent. As you know, Timothy Thatcher is a catch wrestler. He knows how to do that type of thing. So he was doing his homework. Then we have a match between Velveteen Dream and this guy named Ashante D. Adonis. I'll just skip ahead on this one. Velveteen Dream won the match, but however, he gets a surprise attack by Kushida. Yep. If you guys haven't forgotten, during the Triple Threat series, Kushida had Velveteen Dream in his signature move, the hoverboard, but Cameron Grimes won that match. And Velveteen Dream took it out on Kushida and tried to beat him silly, but Kushida hasn't forgotten, so he tried to break his arm, like, completely. I think this is going to be an interesting feud, Kushida and Velveteen Dream. I'm very interesting how this is going to go between them. Next thing we have is the whole little video package that they throw in between a rivalry between Breezango and Imperium. Now, Imperium always comes out saying that guys like Breezango, they're nothing but a joke, that they don't respect the mat, that they just make things worse. You know, the Imperium are the most disciplined group ever. But Breezango, they don't care. They just love to have fun. But it's been announced that next week, the NXT Tag Team Championship will be on the line. The current champions, Breezango, will face against Imperium. So basically, Imperium must have cashed in their rematch clause. So that's pretty much what I think is going to happen. Next thing we see is Bronson Reed versus Austin Theory. As you know, a couple weeks ago, Austin Theory came back from who knows wherever he's been. He interrupts Bronson Reed's interview about how he felt that Timothy Thatcher made the shot, called the shot to take on Damian Priest for the North American Championship instead of him. But Austin Theory decided to disrespect him by saying, "You'll get a title shot until you're 55. But Bronson Reed slapped him, and then a week ago cost Bronson Reed an opportunity for the North American Championship. So this became a revenge match, but this match was kind of interesting. But the best part is Austin Theory has his back injured for lifting Bronson Reed. So he tried, but the best moment is the way Bronson Reed beat him. He jumped off the turnbuckle and landed right on top of him on his back. So he picked up the victory. I would think twice, Austin Theory, from trying to being cocky, thinking that you're given more than everyone else. But that was pretty cool. Then we have Mercedes Martinez giving his little message to Ripley about how she's going to end her. You know, that sort of thing. So it's already been set for main event. Mercedes Martinez versus Rhea Ripley in the cage match. This is going to be awesome. Now, the next match before we go to the main event, we had Killian Dane versus Roderick Strong. As you know, not too long ago, Killian Dane was in a match against Drake Maverick, but he got taken out by the Undisputed Era. And then a few weeks ago, Kyle O'Reilly got in a match against Drake Maverick, but he had help with Strong and Fish. Killian Dane came out to help, but apparently it did not happen. Apparently it happened, but he actually attacked Drake Maverick. Now, Drake Maverick had no beef with him whatsoever, but Killian Dane, he seems like the kind of guy who doesn't want to make friends with anybody. So the match ended with Roderick Strong picked up the victory. Maverick comes out with the lead pipe, and he took out Strong and Fish. But however, we weren't sure if he was going to attack Maverick, so he just dropped the pipe and left. But Maverick wanted to shake his hands, telling him thank you, but he didn't. He just sucker punched him. So that's how it ended with him. Now let's jump in with the dinner. It goes very wrong. Tegan broke TV. He actually broke the TV. It was so amazing. I loved it. She took off, and Candice was right behind her. Looks like we're going to see another rivalry between those two. Now let's go to the main event. We have the steel cage match between Mercedes Martinez and Rhea Ripley. But before the match even started, Ripley brought in the toys. Brought in both chairs, tables, the whole shebang. And Ripley came out of nowhere and attacked her from behind while she's pulling out the chair. And she put the chair back in. Put the chair in the freaking cage. I don't know what she was thinking, but it was going to be a hard-hitting match. And believe me, it was. It was like one of those alpha female type of match. You know. But it was impressive. Not to lie about that. But there was a moment where I saw Mercedes' head was like in an opening of the cage. I thought, oh shit, that looks dangerous. I don't know if that was wise to do something like that. I thought the cages should be closed, but it wasn't. But there are certain times in a match where Robert Stone was trying to get in the way, trying to distract Ripley, but it wasn't enough. But somehow there was back and forth attacks with chairs, kendo sticks. But however, Mercedes wanted to put away Ripley through a table. It didn't go exactly to her plan, but Ripley did that herself. She put her in the avalanche through a table, picking up the victory. While Robert Stone, on the other hand, he got his ass whooped, hanging on top of the damn cage, going like dangling. So, is this the end of the feud between both Rhea Ripley and the Robert Stone brand? Well, let's just hope so, because there's now been speculation that Rhea Ripley is being called out to the main roster. We just gotta wait and see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Right now, you know, if you guys think if I say things that are out of context, or that's just because I'm still dealing with the effects of the ear infection I have. But for now, as you know, today is September 9th, which is a Wednesday. I'm going to watch AEW. I will reveal AEW tomorrow, hopefully in the morning or so, and upload it as soon as possible. I think that's about it. I did throw out the news update alert with the G1 Climax 30 participants. I hope you guys get to see that. So I'll explain more of that next on the upcoming episode. I think I might throw it that way so you guys get a clearer view what the G1 Climax is all about for those who watch this episode. So right now I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang!